Hello, this is PWA Films back again with another video. This will be partly an announcement video, but mostly it will be the long-awaited Q&A video that I promised a while ago. So brace yourself, this will be a very long video. Also, I'm trying out a new voice filter, so let me know if it's cool or if it's lame or suggest a new one. First off, we dropped 2 new videos, a Thanksgiving special with Pittman, and the long overdue short film Immolation starring Cass and voiced by Sid. I'm grateful we're ending the year stronger than we did in the past, though I'd say last year wasn't that bad. Which brings me to the announcement. I have plans to drop 2 more videos before the end of the year, one around Christmas and one on New Year's Eve. For my MPreg fans, the next film is 100% confirmed to be an MPreg short, and I have started editing on that. And then the last film of the year will be another FPreg short featuring another real Prego. Now, I quickly wanted to mention something before we moved on. I have a lot of followers who are into a lot of different things on my channel. I have followers who love when I do more horror and less horror. I have followers who love MPreg, FPreg, and I have followers who love it all. But over the last 2 years, I have seen people who get pretty upset when they aren't getting the content they want. This is mainly from my MPreg only lovers and FPreg only lovers. Though I do want to apologize to my MPreg lovers for the extreme lack of content. I understand your frustrations and will make up for it next year. Now, I'm not going to go into details because it's not important, but what is important is that we are aware that we all have a shared common interest. We're a community. That also means being aware that I tackle a lot of different interests in this community. So essentially, when you see a new video that isn't the kind of video you like, don't be upset at me or the people who are into it. Certainly don't say mean things. Just know I'm trying to give other sides of this community what they want. Just know I will release your type of video soon. So please be respectful and kind. Alright, it's Q&A time. I received 14 questions, and some of these were sent in by multiple people, so let's do this. So, question 1. When and how did you get the idea to start this project? This one is kind of a long answer, but I'll try my best to make it as short as I can. Back in 2016, I came up with Praxenos, which was a sci-fi horror film idea. And let me tell you, you'd be surprised just how many elements you see today originated from that film. Just to name a few, the mega corporation Rolf Industries, the ship named Genesis, the planet named Eden, and the names of many characters all originated from that film. However, the main thing was the seed that sprouted the idea of the specimen. This was an alien that was plant-like and spider-like. It was an unusual mix, but nothing like the alien we've been seeing today. Anyways, the big missing piece was there was no pregnancy involved. I didn't dare to put in that film because 1, I was too scared to show the side of me, and 2, it would have turned into a recreation of Alien, which is funny looking at how everything turned out. But sadly, that didn't go anywhere until 2021 when I was inspired by the films of Sweet Sarah 95. I told her my idea of doing an alien pregnancy film called Embryos, featuring a story about a lone astronaut on a spaceship who is, as you guessed it, impregnated by an alien. It didn't go far outside of a little teaser I made. I still have it if you guys want to see it. It was made with stock footage, which happened to be in black and white, but that was just sheer luck. When I finally started working on Ideal Host, I changed the protagonist from an astronaut to a test subject, and I made it all part of an alien breeding program. After that, I added in what I loved most from Praxenos, like Eden and the alien, but updated it. Some of it was based on stock footage I could find as well, but boom, Ideal Host was born and the rest was history. Of course, there's the title. Truth be told, Ideal Host was not my idea. That was all Ciara's idea, so she coined it. Thank you. Ideal Host is a far better franchise title than Embryos. So yeah, there you go. That's the when and how. Alright, moving on. Question 2. This one is kind of a part 2. What made you want to create these types of videos? Alright, so how do I put this without YouTube freaking out? I couldn't find any pregnancy content that represented my interests or fit my desires and satisfaction, so I just decided, hell with it, I'll just do it myself. After all, I've been making films for almost 11 years now. At the time, 8 years. I had experience with films, I went to school for it. Why not turn my unusual interests into arts? And I did, and I think I've done a pretty good job. Question 3. This is also kind of a part 3 question since it goes back to the beginning, but anyways, what got you into Alien MPreg / pregnancy? Also, love your MPreg work. Firstly, thank you so much. Secondly, Alien 1979. Saw it in first grade, scared me shitless, but got so fascinated by it that I was mentally tortured for years from how much I'd look it up. Took me until middle school to face my fears and rewatch it in full. Between all of that was when I saw Alien vs. Predator. I think that movie scares me a little bit more than Alien because I've only seen the film once, which is funny, but it had the same effect. Side note, I am considering rewatching Alien vs. Predator, but that's a side point. But anyways, what really set it off for me was when I turned on the TV one morning at my uncle's house and first gazed upon the infamous hospital birth scene from Alien vs. Predator 2, and that clicked something in me. And since then, I've been trying to replicate that same feeling I got when I first saw it, but now in my films. Question 4. How do you feel about having hit the threshold of 500 followers? To be honest, my other non-Prego related channels have never been this popular, so I felt quite shocked, honestly. It made me realize that people actually care about what I make, and it shows not just with followers, but with people who've reached out to me to share their appreciation, or when I see my videos being shared on servers and forums, or even when I see people making content and stories inspired by Idle Host. I'm just shocked and appreciative of everybody. Because all this could have turned messy, pretty much, like all the responses from MPreg Central after the original Idle Host and the extended cut. Yeah, that was a rough point, but hey, it turned out for the better. Question 5. Are these specimens female or male? And the answer to that can be found in Resurgence, so go rewatch it. But for those who don't want to, the answer is female. Why? Well, I really love the movie Jurassic Park, and it was said in the movie that all of the dinosaurs were female. Therefore, I thought it'd be a fun reference. But does that mean we could see male specimens? I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but I don't know how it could work. But for now, all and any specimens you see of any life cycle are female. Question 6. So I've actually been asked this question quite a lot. Will you make any extended cuts of the recent Idle Host videos, like with Idle Host the extended cut? The short answer is no. The long answer is there's a chance, but don't count on it. The extended cut was a rare case where, sad to say, I didn't really enjoy the film that much after it came out, although now I have a better appreciation for it. I think the film missed the engagement in life, and so by adding footage that I didn't use for the film and also just adding a whole bunch of footage that I had saved over the years, I think it gave the film the life it needed. So yeah, so to answer one more time, will there be any more extended cuts? Not really. If there ever is, it's a really rare case. Question 7. How do you come up with the backstories for your characters? Funny, I was just explaining to Sid the backstory of her character, the nurse, aka Riley Breton from the extended cut and the Genesis arc, and she was shocked that I thought up of all this backstory for her character, and honestly, it's just kind of random, which honestly isn't a good answer, but it's true. But it helps as a screenwriter and a writer to know your character and figure out what makes them human or not human. So just think of your history and how it shaped you, and if you find those key moments and events, big or small, apply those to your characters. It's okay if you don't fully understand your character yet, but once you have the basics, like their wants, their needs, their goals, all the good stuff, the rest basically follows. Question 8. what gives you the most pleasure in making films? So the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is seeing your ideas come to life, but also what happens afterwards and seeing the reactions. It's scary and I get nervous, honestly, especially with immolation, but you guys always have the nicest things to say, so it's definitely very rewarding. Question 9. What is your favorite element/aspect to include in your films? Shout out to Bellyful77 for asking this question. Love you, man. So, fun fact, the black and white element was originally made because of two reasons. One, YouTube wouldn't allow that much gore in my films. And two, my stock footage has a lot of different colors. So some may have blue lighting, some may have red lighting, some may have green. So it helps blend it more seamlessly, but now it's kind of a trademark thing, I think. I don't really see sci-fi films going for black and white aesthetics, but also I'm a really big fan of the noir films, and so subconsciously that's made me love the filter like even more. Question number 10. When will Ideal Host's special project be out? Oof. I want to say, but at the same time I don't want to say anything. I will say this. The film is done shooting, but I still have to gather a lot more stock footage since it will be like a cross between the extended cut and Resurgence, but on a bigger scale. I guess you can compare Ground Zero as well. I need people to voice the roles. I have some people for that already. I will be doing the music for that as well, so that's going to take a little bit more time. It will 1000% be coming out next year, I promise. I will say you guys don't have to wait too long, but it's not going to be immediate. Question 11. When will we find out where the specimen came from? Honestly, I have so much to cover in my films and stories that I don't even know when I'm going to get to it, but I do know I will eventually get to it. And for those people that think I might be making it up, I have a whole bunch of notes on this. I know when, where, why, and how, and eventually you'll find out. But I will say this, if we lived in the Ideal Host Expanded universe, going based off of today's dates, the specimen would only be a couple decades old, so still very young. When I do get to those stories and films, it will be kind of tough to cover only because there's not a lot of dialogue, which you'll understand why, and it will be a bitch to find the stock footage for that. But when we do get to that, it will be very rich in lore, very rich in story, and there will be a shit ton of pregnancy content to come from that. So just bear with me, we'll eventually get there. But until then, read the Garden of Eden arc and book 2 of Genesis to get more clues on where it came from. And for the people that might be guessing already, no, the specimen did not originate from Eden. Question 12. We're definitely getting in the future with this question. Will you still be writing stories in the future? So if I ever stop writing stories, it's probably because I died. Jokes aside though, I have ambitions to turn Ideal Hosts into a novel series that you guys can buy in a bookstore. I'm hoping I get to do that before Ideal Host becomes a Hollywood film. Fingers crossed on that. When the day eventually comes where you guys do start reading Ideal Host novels, don't expect it to be continuations of what I'm doing now, but expect a lot of changes and retcons, but not enough to where it's a whole new story, whole new source. It's going to be the same ways, but there's just little things I wish I did differently. So this is the $1 million question. It's another future question. So question 13, what are your future plans for Ideal Host? So this is going to be a long response, and I think you guys will appreciate it. So the plan is just to release more films and stories, but to go into depth. I already planned most of the slate of films to release next year, so expect the biggest haul of content ever for my channel, and hopefully it'll give justice to my MPreg fans, and it will continue to satisfy my FPreg fans. But I'm going to do all I can to ensure all these projects release as promised, and no gaps in any months like what have been happening this last year, sadly. At least we're finishing strong. We'll finally see delayed films be released like Ground Zero and Special Project, which has been retitled to Project Vitalis, if you didn't know. I have a mini-series in the works called Ideal Host Lockdown, featuring some of the fallout of 2215. That's coming out in October, and I'm saying that now because we're working on some pretty epic shit for that you guys are going to be flipping out over, at least most of you guys. And then we're also going to try to bring back lots of characters that haven't been as represented this last year, like Dr. Vassar and my personal favorite character, Professor Sylvan. Zach's an amazing voice actor, and so I really want him to return to the role and do more with him. As for Wattpad stories, it's kind of on the back burner for me right now just because I've been so focused on films. But I would really love to just finish the Genesis arc before midtime next year and start to move on to the next stage, which is the Exodus arc, which will be a new beginning in a way, and introduce new characters and storylines. I think you guys will enjoy that. I'm definitely getting a little burnt out by the Genesis arc. It's served a very strong purpose, and I'm thankful for that. But it's definitely time to move on and show the new side of things, especially since I've started to introduce the timeline after Genesis. So we'll see how that goes. But aside from that, there's not been much new developments or plans for the story side of things. But maybe later in the year, or maybe when next year arrives. One last thing I'll hint at is the potential idea of doing an Ideal Host spinoff. Now, I may or may not have tried to do that already on Wattpad. I'm working on that. But I'm giving another try with another topic. I won't say what it is yet, but it does feature a lot of pregnancy content and no alien or alien pregnancy content at all. It'll definitely be a little bit new. I think it's going to be an interesting side of the universe to explore and a lot of history. There's already some projects in the work for that, but I won't say what or by who. Hopefully you guys get excited when we do reveal what it is. So I will do my absolute best, but know I am just one person with a select team. Though if you want to help ensure that these films get released, join our team. We need filmmakers, composers, actors, sound editors, film editors, and writers for stories. You all have what it takes. Don't be afraid to try your hand. I will be here to help and give you all the tips and tricks of the universe and lore. Though I've mentioned it many times before, I really need more composers. I'm not going back to using copyright-free or copyrighted music. So until then, I will be filling in for Century every once in a while until he pops up to do a soundtrack. At last, the final question. Naval preference, innies or outies? Honestly, outies. I don't even need a second to think. Outies are what make the bellies go round. Though I love a good innie, outies are just perfection. Alright, I think that video was long enough. Just a heads up, I am back now after being gone for a few months. By gone, I mean took some relaxation time to focus on my other film accounts that I've neglected and still currently am. But thanks for watching. I appreciate all the questions you've sent. I hope you enjoy hearing my responses, and if you didn't like my answer, ask again. Maybe you'll like the new answer. Thanks again, and see you on Christmas.